Hello and welcome to experiment 2. Today we'll be doing an extraction. An extraction is when you take a solute and one solvent and extract it from that solvent with another solvent. Today we'll be taking caffeine, we'll be placing it in water, and we'll be extracting the caffeine out of the water using methylene chloride. I have my coat on, got my gloves on, safety goggles. We're ready to go. So let's. The first thing you want to do is you're going to get out a ring stand. You're going to make sure the ring stand is sturdy. You're going to make sure that the pole is tight. If not, you can always take the tool, tighten up the nut. Now that we know that the ring stand is sturdy, I'm going to take a 3-inch ring holder, place it on the ring stand about so high. Now I'm going to get out a 125 milliliter separatory funnel, place it in the ring stand. I'm also going to get out one glass stopper. The first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that the 125 milliliter separatory funnel is clean. So we're going to disassemble it. It has a top nut, it has a gasket, and it has a Teflon washer. And then you pull out the stopcock. And the first thing you want to do is look in there to make sure it's clean. If it's not clean, you can always take a wire, push it through it, and just to make sure it's clean. Now everything looks pretty clean. If not, I would go over to the sink, clean it and dry it. I'm going to reassemble it. Put in the stopcock first. Put in the washer. Put in the gasket, and put in the nut and tighten it up till it's kind of snug. Now remember, with the 125 milliliter separatory funnel, when the stopcock is turned perpendicular, it doesn't allow any liquid to flow out. When you turn it parallel, it allows the liquid to flow out. So we're going to turn it perpendicular, okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grease the top of the glass stopper. I'm going to take a little grease and just grease the very top part of the glass stopper. Then I'm going to place it on top of the 125 separatory funnel, turn it around to make sure it makes a good seal. This does two things. It seals it, and it also makes it easier to pull in and to pull out. Okay? Now I'm going to check for leaks. And how I check for leaks is I'm going to take some acetone. I'm going to squirt it in there, just a few milliliters. Okay? I'm going to put the top on. I'm going to shake it around. And then I'm going to look visually for leaks. If there is no leaks, we're good to go. I would then take this over to hood 4 and dispose of it properly in the non-halogenated organic solvents. Remember, this always stays in hood 4. It would never leave hood 4. I just brought it over here for filming purposes. Open it up. Make sure that the acetone flows out easily. Close it. Put it in the ring. The first step is that we want to get 0.5 grams of caffeine into solution with water. I have the 30 milliliters of water here. I have the 0.5 grams of caffeine. And I have the separatory funnel set up with a funnel on top. Now, since caffeine likes moisture, once again, you know the technique. You weigh out double the amount. You put it in a mortar, grind it up with the pistol, weigh it out, so you get 0.5 grams. Now that I have the 0.5 grams of caffeine, I'll add it to the separatory funnel. Make sure that the stopcock is perpendicular. So you just take the caffeine, add it to the top, take the water, rinse out the funnel, add the 30 milliliters of water. Okay. Take the funnel out. The procedure I show you now is the procedure you'll follow during all extractions. First thing you want to do is just lift it up and swirl it around a little. Okay? Lift it up, swirl it around a little. Then, when you put the glass stopper in, you're going to invert it, open it up. Shake it once, open it up. Shake it twice, open it up. Shake it 3 times, open it up. The reason you do this is because the liquid itself creates a vapor pressure. Now, if this solvent, water, had a high vapor pressure, it would create pressure here, and that pressure has to be released. Since water doesn't have a high vapor pressure, it's not real important that you do this in the hood. But with the methylene chloride, which has a high vapor pressure, these 3 steps we will do in the hood. Now that we've done the 3 steps, you're going to shake it for like 10 seconds. 1, 2. You're going to vent it. You're going to shake it for 10 seconds. You're going to vent it. You notice when I'm shaking it, my 2 fingers are on the glass stopper, holding the glass stopper into the separatory funnel, because you don't want to let go of this because the solvent would come out. Okay, shake it for 10 more seconds. Open it. And you're going to repeat the process until all the caffeine has gone into solution. It should take anywhere from 5 to 10 times. Now that, oops, still got to vent it. Vent it. All the caffeine is dissolved into water. Now I'm ready to do the 3 extractions with 15 milliliters of methylene chloride. The first part of this extraction will be done in the hood. I bring over the 125 milliliter separatory funnel with the water and the caffeine and the glass stopper. I remove the glass stopper. Now I'm going to do an extraction with 15 milliliters of methylene chloride. The pump is set up at 7.5. So I'm going to give it 2 pumps. 1, 2. Then I'm going to do the procedure. First I'm going to swirl it around. Swirl it around. Then I'll put in the glass stopper, and as soon as I put in the glass stopper, I'll vent it. Notice the pressure come out. Then I'll open the glass stopper until there's no more pressure coming out. I'll shake it once. Let the pressure out. I'll give it 2 shakes. Let the pressure out. Give it 3 shakes. Let the pressure out. I'll close it. I'll bring it back to my workstation and finish shaking it. I placed the 125 milliliter flask with the methylene chloride, water, and caffeine into the 3-inch ring stand. I'm going to open it up just to vent it a little, and then I'm going to shake it for 10 seconds, vent, 10 seconds, vent, 10 seconds, vent. I'm going to do this 5 times. Each time, make sure all the pressure is gone. 1, 2. And you notice we're shaking it pretty good. And the reason we're shaking it pretty good is because for an extraction to happen, both layers have to come in contact with each other. And the more you shake it, the more contact there is between both layers. Alright, this is 3. This is 4. And this is 5. So after the 5th time, you're going to put it back into the ring holder. Remove the glass stopper. And you're going to let the 2 layers settle. Now the first time when you do this, or the first extraction with the 15 ml of methylene chloride, you're going to get an emulsion, a middle layer of both the methylene chloride and water. And the way you get rid of that emulsion is we're going to use a little salt. Okay? But first, we're going to give it some time to settle out. After a few minutes, you see pure methylene chloride layer. On the top, you see pure water layer, and then you have this emulsion layer in the center. And the way you get rid of this is you take the funnel. I took about 0.2 grams of sodium chloride. I put it in there through the funnel, and I pick it up and I just swirl it around. Swirl it around, swirl it around, Swirl it around a little. Alright, so what the salt does is makes the aqueous layer more polar, which creates a greater separation between the aqueous layer and the organic layer, which is the methylene chloride. So that works pretty efficiently to separate the two layers. Next, we're going to be doing the separation itself. You're going to take a 100 milliliter beaker, clean, dry, labeled organic layer. You're going to lift up the ring so the bottom of the separatory funnel is a few centimeters into the beaker. Make sure the stopcock is up, and you're going to open it and you'll let out the bottom layer, which is the organic layer. Now, you're just going to add more methylene chloride, so you don't have to get it all, but you get pretty close to it all. Then what you're going to do is you're going to check for visible water in this organic layer, or the methylene chloride. And if there is no visible water, which they look like there's no visible water, I will take a 125 milliliter Erlenmeyer flask and pour the organic layer into it. Now, I'm going to repeat the process. I'm going to take this over to the hood, add the methylene chloride, do the 3 shakes, vent, 1 shake, 2 shake, 3 shakes, bring it over here, shake it for a while. The second time you won't get an emulsion. I'm going to drain, then I will drain out the organic layer into the 100 milliliter beaker. Check for water, visible water. If there's visible water, you got to pour it back in and do it over again. No visible water, I'll put it into the 125 milliliter Erlenmeyer flask that's already had the previous 15 mils of methylene chloride. And then I'll repeat it for the third time. So the third time, you'll have 45 milliliters of methylene chloride, and hopefully the caffeine with the methylene chloride, in this 125 milliliter flask. You will need to weigh out 1 gram of anhydrous sodium sulfate, which is a sodium sulfate molecule that has no water around it. So it's in a desiccator, so you want to slide the desiccator off, put the lid down, take a weighing paper, tar it, open up the sodium sulfate, anhydrous, weigh out 1 gram. Good. Close the jar, put it back in the desiccator, put the lid on. Now we can use this for our drying agent. You have the 125 milliliter Erlenmeyer flask that has the 3 15 milliliter portions of methylene chloride with the caffeine, a funnel on top, 1 gram of anhydrous sodium sulfate that you weighed out, and you're going to have a 100 milliliter beaker with a boiling stone that is pre-weighed. You will take the drying agent, add it to the 125 milliliter flask, swirl it around, swirl it around. And you notice that it acts like sand. It moves readily. If it just blobbed down to the bottom and didn't move, you'd have to add more drying agent. But the test is, if it acts like sand and water, you've added the correct amount of drying agent. Now, you'll let this sit for 10 minutes. Every 30 seconds, you want to swirl it around. The drying agent has been in the organic layer for 10 minutes. Every 30 seconds, it will swirl around. Now it's time to decant the organic layer or methylene chloride into this 100 milliliter flask. Decant just simply means pour off the liquid layer, leaving the solid layer behind. Now, this is ready to have the methylene chloride boiled off, and the caffeine will remain. This will be done in the hood. Okay, we're ready to set up the apparatus to boil off the methylene chloride in the hood. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to get 2 ring stands, put them side by side to each other. Get a hot plate. Place the hot plate between the 2 rings. Make sure it's flat. Plug in the hot plate. Turn it on to make sure it works. Turn it on to make sure it works. You're going to get a ice pan filled up with water about 3/4 of the way. You get a thermometer holder and a thermometer. Make sure it's a 100-degree thermometer. Place it on the ring stand. Put it in the back a little. Make sure the pool is submerged. You're going to get the methylene chloride, caffeine, and the boiling stone. With this clamp, this flask clamp, you're going to put it up as high as you can. Make it snug. Now you want to make sure that the methylene chloride is submerged in the water so it goes far enough down. You're tightening it up. We're going to turn it on, and we're going to keep the temperature at 50 degrees. When it gets too hot, turn it off, let it come down. When it's not hot enough, turn it up, make it go up. Now, we're going to put this in the hot bath until it gets to be pasty. Once it's pasty, we're going to bring it in the back of the hood. But for now, all we do is maintain 50 degrees in the water and let the methylene chloride boil off. Now, there's only 1 hot plate per hood, so another group can be using this space right here too. Okay, it's been boiling now for about 25 minutes. Can you see how it's become pasty? I'll take this, I'll stick it in the back of the hood. I'll keep it in the back of the hood for about 10 minutes, then I'll weigh it. Then I'm going to continue to repeat this process until I get a continuous weight. Once I get a continuous weight, I know that all the methylene chloride has been boiled off. So, if I know the weight of the beaker and a Bowling stone, and if I know the weight of the beaker, the Bowling stone, and the caffeine, I can subtract the two to get the weight of the caffeine. Divide that by what I started with, times 100 will give me my percent recovery. Hopefully this video was helpful for you with the experiment.